that the last Nizam, he nominated his grandson, skipping the idea of primogeniture, which was never there because even the first Nizam didn't have it. The Prophet did not have it. I told you his successor was a Khalifa, was his father-in-law. The Prophet himself, if you really see it by default, his bloodline is through his daughter. And so a lot of, there are myths, myths circulated. So we have to now go by Indian law, which recommends Sharia to the people living in India as long as you're Muslim. And like I told you, the Nizam nominated his grandson, and the grandson was merely titular. And when the titular titles were abolished in 71, there's nothing. There's no titular, nothing, and there's no Hyderabad. To begin with, princely Hyderabad merged with India in 1948. So once it's merged, there's no Hyderabad also. So the very idea of trying to say I'm Nizam of Hyderabad is absurd. At least like my cousins are trying to say I'm the Nizam of the Asaf Jahi Dynasty. Dynasty meaning their family, which they have a right to choose in a democratic way, in a democratic India. So I don't know how many more times I have to make that clear. So okay, that part is over. So lucky for you, that the lawyer who's coming now, we called him because he speaks Telugu, and I believe most of the people in this room are from the Telugu press. So he'll be a big help once he comes here. So anyway, I'm telling you, because of this difficulty of the paperwork of the other families, I moved ahead with the 7 Nizam. I've already covered that also. And whenever we get something out of it, we'll make sure that the 1 to 6 children who are distinct, and they all belong to a certain trust called anyway, I'm forgetting the name. It's a Sarfakhaz trust. Something like that, and they belong to that. So they will definitely benefit from all this. That I'm assuring them. And another thing is, a lot of them, in their case, hundreds, thousands of them have signed me in formal and informal papers also as their head, as a ninth Nizam of their dynasty too also. And so I'm assuring them, okay, whoever signed, they will benefit more than the people who have not signed. And I have my own personal properties also. I assure it on my passing, I'll make sure that, I'll benefit somebody. Right? My case is very strong, and it's we are very close to the Nizam because my grandmother was his own sister. So he, in his trusts and all that will, she's mentioned very clearly. So that also will take time to convince the court, and courts are very, very slow. The fastest track is the 7 Nizam's descendants, because nobody can deny them their rights. So I have decided to back them in every way with my contacts, my finances, everything. So they win, and once they win, they are ready to.
They started denuding the forest. It started appearing in the press because a lot of people protested that forest being cleared because that's a green lung space and all that. So the people who are interested in conservation, they kind of took it up and they demonstrated on that. So a lot of heat was generated because it was represented in the headlines in the press. So the Suo Moto, the Supreme Court took up the case, and they are deciding on whether the state government is justified in clearing the forest, whether they have the requisite permissions from the right conservation departments and all that. So while the case was going on, in an IA, we got our IA kind of accepted to take up the matter and also put forth our rights over the property, which is another section. So anyway, that is what the case is all about. And the case next hearing is on the 28th. The last hearing was on the 7th. And the IA has been accepted, and then some decision will be taken whether to take up the matter about. It won't be about so much about the ownership, because this is more about the deforestation and conservation. And I think we will be sent back to civil courts here in Hyderabad or Telangana to take up the matter of the ownership. So then we can start fighting, and then we can have a chance of negotiating with the people who are unrightfully, without proper rights, kind of encroaching onto it, and we have a right to kind of put our papers forward and all that. And in all the papers which are in the revenue records, it's still mentioned in the Nizam's name. And the people on my left and right, Milad and Osman, they are, I told you, grandsons, and their fathers' names are listed in the Constitution. Constitution when Nizam merged with India. So it will be not very difficult for them to prove. Then there's a blue book which was listed the Nizam's properties during the time of the merger. So there was an assurance given by the President of India that certain land will be the Nizam's. After he merged, like a lot of it will go to India, but some will be with him because there was a king ruling from the last 224 years. They had certain rights. So in the rights, he still owns the land. So we are fighting for that now. And once it comes to civil court, we have a lawyer who's very capable. His name is Mr. Veqar. He's already here now. He will talk about the rest of it. And you can pose questions to him. And he speaks Telugu also, so you are very lucky he's arrived now.
Veqar Hussain, advocate. I am the practicing lawyer before the Telangana High Court as well as the Supreme Court of India. And I'm also having my senior colleague, Mr. Wasim Khadri, who is also representing before the Supreme Court. In this case, the very case is that the government of Telangana, they are trying to encroach the very private property of HES the Nizam. HES the Nizam, Nawab Osman Khan. The very land is of survey number 25 and 26, totally measuring 2,700 acres of land, situated at Gachibowli, which is more popularly known as Kancha Gachibowli. And that particular land does not belong to the government. It's purely a private patta land of HES the Nizam. So after the merger of Hyderabad into the Union of India, agreement has took place between the HES the Nizam, Nawab Osman Khan and the Union of India. Under the agreement, all the movable and immovable properties for which the government of India has promised to protect the lands, and thereafter, after passing of the agreement, all the immovable properties which are the private properties of HES the Nizam were declared as private properties by the proceeding conducted by the Union of India. And as per the proceeding, this subject property, survey number 25 and 26 of Gachibowli, belonging to HES the Nizam, not to the government of Telangana. So there is misconception in the public, and also the encroachment drive made by the Telangana government in order to alienate the property to the companies, which is totally arbitrary, it is illegal, it is unconstitutional. And also it is pertinent to mention here that in lieu of the revenue record also, in lieu of the Setwar and the Vasul Baki as well as the Khasra Pahani, that land belonging to HES the Nizam, he is there mentioned as a khatedar, as a pattedar in the revenue records. So the government of Telangana is having nothing to do with it. And we are having all the legal heirs who are representing before the Supreme Court to protect the rights. And we are having Mr. Raunaq Yar Khan. He is declared as the ninth Nizam by the popular vote of the family members of HES the Nizam. Because in lieu of Article 18 of the Constitution of India, the title has already been abolished of all the rulers in India prior to the independence of India. Thereafter, only to protect the interest of the family members, the family members has made him as the ninth Nizam, Mr. Raunaq Yar Khan, to come forward to protect the private properties of HES the Nizam. And we are having Mr. Mir Usman Ali Khan. He is the grandson of HES the Nizam, and Mr. Milad Ali Khan, he is also a grandson. Mr. Milad Ali Khan is here. He is also a grandson. He is the son of Imdad Jah Bahadur, and Mr. Mir Usman Ali Khan is the son of Mr. Zulfikar Jah Bahadur. They are the grandson of HES the Nizam, and they are the petitioners before the Supreme Court, and they have filed the implete petition in the Suo Moto Writ Petition Civil number 3 of 2025, taken cognizance by the Supreme Court of India to protect the forest because of the deforestation drive was being conducted by the government of Telangana to protect the environment. The Supreme Court has taken a Suo Moto cognizance case, that is a Writ Petition Civil number 3 of 2025, in which we have filed an implete petition by the legal heirs of HES the Nizam to protect the property. And now I wanted to declare and also pertinent to mention that the property of Gachibowli is a private property of HES the Nizam, and the government of Telangana is having nothing to do with it. And the government of Telangana, by encroaching, it's more particularly can say that government of Telangana is grabbing the land of the HES the Nizam, and they are become a land grabbers these days, the government of Telangana. So I urge the media people and the general public to come forward to protect the property of 2,700 acres, and the legal heirs of Nizam, they have also declared that they will do some land would be distributed to among the poor persons also out out of 2,700 acres. And he has the Nizam, he is having 16 sons and 18 daughters, out of which the surviving legal heirs are more than 200 now. But out of that 2,700 acres, they promise that they will do some extent of land for the poor people, poor civilians of the backward classes and minorities of the people of Telangana. They'll distribute that lands to the poor people. Majority of the land would be distributed and rest of the land would be for the legal heirs. So the government of Telangana should stop the drive of alienation, illegal alienation of the property to the companies of the Gachibowli land. And that's it. Thank you.